Welcome back to The Kicker. Today we are inviting you to celebrate July 4th with us. We are recapping the runoffs, and we are updating you on the special legislative session that Governor Kemp convened on June 17th. My name is Becky Woomer.
And I'm Jessica Fleming.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, nice to see you.
It's good to see you now that summer is underway. And one of our biggest events of the summer is coming up. We would love to have you come walk in the coming July 4th parade with us. This is our biggest visibility, one of our biggest visibility events of the year and certainly of the summer. The parade starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday, July 4th at Central High School. Come a little bit early if you want to get in line with our float. We decorate a truck and a trailer, and we have music, and we throw candy. Have you been to that parade before, Jess?
Yeah, I went last year and I brought two of my kids with me. It's so much fun. We're handing out American flags, throwing candy, getting candy. There's just a lot of fun, a lot of great energy. And I saw a bunch of people I knew along the parade route. They may or may not have known I was a Democrat. They still waved, I clapped,
They know
excited to
now.
see people they knew. Yeah, exactly. It's very visible, but it's very fun. And the group of people that walk in the parade with you, you just have so much fun and there's a lot of camaraderie. So I was really proud to do it last year. And I think it's a great opportunity for anyone who's interested.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to show our strength in the community. And it's just a really fun entry level event. If you've wanted to get involved, come even a little early and help us decorate the float. It's really fun. You know, stick red, white, and blue everywhere. And then we walk all the way down the road to the fairgrounds, and then we're done. Then you can come back later to the fairgrounds and see the fireworks, visit us at our booth that night. But we will put the link to the sign up and to those details in our show notes. And it's just a really good time. So we hope to see a lot of people out there. What else is going on?
Yeah, well, we have big news in terms of we had a runoff for the primary, and now we know our full slate of candidates. So it's very exciting. We know that we have Keisha Lance Bottoms running for governor. Obviously, we're supporting John Ossoff, but then we also know now who we have running for Congressional District 7 against Rich McCormick. We had two wonderful candidates, Case Norton and Tony Kazicki. Tony Kazicki got the nomination and we'll be supporting him. He's run a really active campaign and he seems like a really great candidate. So hopefully he will really put up a good fight against Rich McCormick, and we're really excited about that. He's also having a virtual town hall on Monday, June 29th. So we'll put the link to that in the show notes.
That is great. Yeah, he's already everywhere.
Yeah.
On the GOP side, they had a big runoff because the top of their ticket was not figured out. And it's notable for us that both their candidates for governor and lieutenant governor are from Forsyth County. Rick
That is
Jackson.
unbelievable.
I know. I know.
Watching those results, it was like, oh my God, is this actually happening?
Yeah. And Greg Dolezal referred to himself and Rick Jackson as the Forsyth Bros. So
Really? Oh goodness. Okay.
yeah, so they are we're going statewide, baby. And also notable is that Rick Jackson spent $100 million of his own money in the primary. And if you look at the increase in his support between that May 19th primary and the runoff day, that's what that $100 million bought. Also of note to me is that Greg Dolezal won his runoff despite the fact that the people who know him best don't seem to like him that much. His coworkers don't seem to like him. All but two members of our Forsyth delegation endorsed his opponent. So, I don't know. I personally am going to be working hard to elect Josh McLaurin, Lieutenant Governor, to defeat Greg Dolezal.
Yeah, I think that says something that they were not willing to endorse him. And I think so many of us know and see this like the slimy side of him. And it's interesting that even some on the Republican side see that. And we've talked before how he loves to just get in those hot button issues and things that are really controversial. And I am really excited to see Josh McLaurin, who is the Democrat who won in the runoff. He'll be running for lieutenant governor on the Democratic side, and I think he is a really great opponent. If you don't know a lot about Josh McLaurin, he's just a great speaker. He's so engaging, and I'm excited for that race.
Absolutely.
And we had some other stuff too in terms of local races. One of the ones that I was watching was the county commission race in District 1. And Adam Rhodes, who this was his first time running for office, he beat an incumbent on the county commission, Kerry Hill, and he beat her quite a bit, 68 to 32. And so that was, quite a beating for a runoff. And it was very interesting to me because the county commission is really made up of a bunch of Republicans that are all really aligned with each other. 4 out of the 5 seats, they kind of are all in, they all support each other. They all seem to be backed by Greg Dolezal. And they've had a lot of outsized power in our county. Many of them ran on running against the Good Old Boy Club, and then they kind of created their own group, and they had some really usually often have the same campaign manager. I thought in this case it was interesting. Flo Valdez, who is the wife of a school board or a chairman of our school board, Mike Valdez, was the person who ran Kerry Hill's campaign. She was listed as her campaign manager. And the tactics that she used, that Kerry Hill and Flo Valdez were using, were really just in poor taste. They were using like horrible photos of people. They were sending out just these mailers. And I know that's what it is. Politics is dirty, but this is, a local race. And it was interesting to see that so many people didn't really fall for it and turned against it and voted for a first timer.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of just the mailers and the nastiness, like, so many AI cartoons, so many bad
Yeah.
AI political cartoons, oh my lord, and, yeah, and, we've been talking about this for weeks on our podcast. The county commission is kinda messy. They are, talking about each other in public and in private, and so, yeah, the fact that this incumbent got beat 68 to 32 shows there was major mobilization against her. Um, so it's just gonna be really interesting. I'm really glad that we have Vincent Wright, a Dem,
Hmm.
running in District 1, and stay
Yeah.
tuned. We'll be talking to him on the podcast, and we can, hear more about his vision for District 1, but you should visit his website. We'll put it in the show notes and find out how to support him. I think a couple takeaways from the GOP runoff statewide is that, Burt Jones lost despite Trump's endorsement, which was interesting. And then, but in Trumpian fashion, Trump pivoted to liking Rick Jackson right away, like Wednesday
Yeah.
morning, before the ink was dry. He was like, "Hey, Rick Jackson is great." Um, and Brian Kemp, he couldn't get Derek Dooley in for the Senate nomination either. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. Overall turnout was pretty low. Um, as would you would expect in a midterm year, and then in a primary it was somewhat higher for Republican voters because even very late into the runoff they were still figuring out the top races in their ticket. So we'll just be working a lot to get out the vote for November for sure.
Yeah. Some of the other big news that we want to talk about is the special session. So, in the last podcast, we were talking about mobilizing people to go down to the Capitol and having protests because Governor Kemp called this special session, and they were going to talk about 2 things. One was something that was very important to talk about, which was the election and how we're going to have elections based on some laws that were passed and not being able to use QR codes, which is how we use them in Georgia. So that was needed. But then there was going to also be a discussion around redistricting based on changes to the Voting Rights Act. And they really could have shaken up the actual districts here in Georgia and changed them. And that would have been could have really been bad and could have changed things for many years to come. So people were really fired up about it. There were protests planned. It was exciting to see so much mobilization, but we didn't wind up needing to actually go down to the Capitol and do anything about it. So, do you want to explain
Yeah,
why?
yeah. I mean, there were several different voting rights groups, ACLU, Black Votes Matter. So many different groups were planning to basically pack the Capitol all last week during the special session, protest and rally and whatnot. And then, right when the session opened, uh, House Speaker John Burns released a letter saying, "We're not going to touch the maps." That they would not be taking up this issue at all during the special session, despite Brian Kemp saying you should do it and Burt Jones saying you should do it. But Brian Kemp also said, but it's the House leadership's decision. So pretty much everyone's takeaway was that vulnerable Republicans did not want to have this issue of redrawing the maps used against them in their campaigns this fall, because what they were going to do, and what virtually every other state in the former Confederacy has
Yeah.
done, has been to basically take away minority Black districts and dilute Black voting power. Well, we thought Georgia was about to do the same thing, and they decided to kind of pull their punch. And I think, we claim this as a win for right now. I mean, resistance works. People mobilized across a broad coalition. In fact, it was hard to keep track of what all was going on. There was never a definitive answer because
Yeah.
there were so many things planned, which is just incredible grassroots mobilization. So we claim this as a win. Now, I think we have to stay vigilant because they very well could convene another session after the November election, a lame duck session, and still
Yeah.
redraw maps that would be active, that would affect us in 2028. Another key here is, I think that with Burt Jones losing his race for governor, for the nomination for governor, uh, he's the president of the Senate right now. He's presiding over the Senate for this special session. He just isn't, he's not facing the pressure he would have been to lead a redistricting effort.
Yeah.
And, he's a lame duck and there's just really no appetite for it on the part of
Hmm.
anybody else. So I
Hmm.
think we take this as a win, but we stay active and we stay aware for sure.
Yeah. And then the other part of having them being called back for the special session was the figuring out what we're going to do with the election, as we mentioned. And in Georgia, we use QR codes. If you voted in the primary and the runoff, you saw that. And that was because of a law that was passed in 2024. We couldn't use QR codes anymore starting this July, like 1 week from
July
today,
1st.
basically. Yeah. And so they did go ahead and kind of push that down the road a bit. They're going to delay that deadline to get phase out the QR codes by to January of 2028. However, there is a part, so that's the good news. We're happy about that. But there is some bad news in terms of a hand manual recount of the top two races on the ballot in every election cycle. So in this case, that would be the race for governor and also the race for Senate, which would be John Ossoff and Keisha Lance Bottoms and the people they're running against.
Right. So the Senate, now the Senate has passed this bill so far. It still has to go to the House, so things could change.
Okay.
But
Oh, good. Okay.
yeah, so
But
this
yeah.
would change that deadline, like you said, but also, yeah, this hand manual recount. And if the hand recount didn't match the computer count, the election can't be certified until those things are um reconciled, right? So, keep in mind this is the crowd who already thinks that counting takes too long even when computers do it. So how is this hand recount gonna work? How is that gonna satisfy anyone? Um, I think it's also, again, it's in service of this conspiracy. It's in service of the big lie that Trump won in 2020. It's trying to satisfy these election deniers, and it will and is intended to create chaos and to cast doubt on the way we vote for sure.
Hmm. So Becky, if it passed the House, it has to pass the Senate, and then Governor Kemp has to sign. It's
Yeah.
almost like a traditional,
Yeah.
yeah,
Completely. So it's going to go to the House, and they could keep the delay of the deadline to January of 28, but they could take away the hand recount. They've
yeah,
just got to do the whole
okay,
making the sausage process. Also, part
okay,
of what they've planned is that Burt Jones and Greg Dolezal, we keep hearing his name, are
yeah, I
setting
know,
up a committee to explore new voting options and technologies. There's no Democratic representation on that committee, and Dems in the House, including Tanya Miller, who's now our nominee for Attorney General, are pushing back on that, saying, like, that's absolutely not right for one party to decide how we vote. And again, Burt Jones and Greg Dolezal are both election deniers. So why are we having them head up this committee to figure out, how we're going to vote? Um, so this, it's not done yet. Like the special session's not over, but that's where we are right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Ah,
They're also actually they're real busy because they're also looking at a lot of property tax legislation. There's multiple dueling tax bills that are being introduced. In general, the Republicans want to lower property taxes by raising sales taxes, and the Dems are pushing back on that. And uh, the Republicans are already just campaigning on that, saying the Dems want to raise your taxes. So they both parties want to campaign on affordability. So they're finding different ways to frame that issue. And this is, I think, what the discourse is going to be between now and November.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens once the session ends and what comes out of it. Hopefully, there'll be some sanity in the House with the hand recounting.
Yeah, I hope so. The House is a more diverse
Yeah.
crew than the Senate. All the weird ideas come out of the Senate. I mean, that's
Yeah.
you heard it here first. All the
Yeah, I
weird
know.
ideas come out of the Senate. That's my opinion. But anyway, so that's what's going on down at the Gold Dome. I mean, I think it's a mixed bag, but I am very relieved that they are not redrawing maps that will be in effect in this November.
Mhm.
So that's great. Um, anyway, it's been really great to talk to you, and I know it seemed like this was a very fact filled.
Yeah.
This was not a chatty chat, but I feel like we had a lot of like nuts and bolts to cover. So, but it's always good to see you.
Yeah, so much information, but we're moving along and, there's a lot of information to cover, and then next time we can go through what happened with the remaining, special session
Yeah.
and what came out of it.
Right, right. And hopefully talk to some more of our candidates now that we've got our full slate
Yes.
figured out. And I
Yeah,
hope
I'm
to see
excited.
you and everybody else at July 4th.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining us. Bye bye.